And welcome to another Lumi Financial Corner. With us once again, Michael Zaremsky, head of U.S. Private Banking, Bank Lumi USA, member of the Investment Committee for Lumi Investment Services. Michael, good to have you back. How are you?
Great to be back, Zev. Thank you very much. Hope all's well.
Thank you. So, the clock's ticking to Election Day. So I know that the economy is tied into politics and Election Day. From your vantage point, what do you see happening, win or lose either side?
Well, I generally don't like to get into the political business, so to speak, but I'll make one prediction for the election. And I think my prediction is going to be that regardless of the result, about half the people of this country are going to be disappointed. About half the people are going to be happy, and I would say that probably a third of the people on each side will be extremely disappointed and extremely happy. And I think that's an important concept for everybody as we continue to move ahead and look at where we are with recovery and where we are with markets. And, I'd like to quote one of the sages of our times, which is Jim Cramer. And as he has said repeatedly, there's always a bull market somewhere. We just have to look for it. So I think that that's one of the key elements that we look at today is, where are we going, what are the directions, and I think we need to not lose sight of the fact that the institutions of this country, the economic grounds that we stand on, and the companies and the governance that we have are very strong and very stable, and the question is, where are the opportunities going forward, not looking at the negative side of it and say, oh my gosh, my side lost. What do we do now?
So we're able to, no matter what happens, the economy should be going full steam ahead.
Yeah, and again, just to reiterate, these are my views, not necessarily the views of the bank. But I think that the key issue is there's certain policies and there's certain agendas that either side of the aisle will look to push, one way more so than the other. But even with that, there's always going to be opportunities within those spaces to take advantage. And I think I've made the comment before on your show. But again, when Edison invented the light bulb, certainly the doomsayers were fearful about what that would mean for the candle industry. But the opportunists were saying, "Wow, look what this does in terms of opening up opportunity in electricity." And again, we look back and see where we are with the economic cycle right now. And as bad and as negative as COVID and the lockdowns and everything that's happened year to date has been, we do also look at some of the vibrant elements of our economy, how we've been able to shift and pivot. We see the creativity of companies and people in terms of adjusting their businesses to make them safer, to make them more accessible for people. We see how technology has created, virtual environments for us to conduct business, for us to deal with people. So many ways that people are now able to buy more and more objects online. Just so many different avenues and so many different ways in which the human mind has been creative in terms of finding opportunity despite the challenges in front of them. And my general view is that will continue. The key challenge is going to be recognizing what would be the agenda for a second Trump administration, what would be the agenda for a Biden administration, how the Congress will be stacked up in favor or against either president. And where do you see opportunities? So again, the playing field may change, but the question is always, where do you find that opportunity? And often, I like to explain it that in a capitalist model, money is kind of like water flowing down a mountain. The capital is always going to find a way down the hill. It's always going to find a pathway. And in some cases, there may be a fence here, there may be a dam here, but the water is still going to find its way down. And I think that that's what everybody has to continue to stay focused on.
And I might also add is that we're very close. It's not a question of if, but when a vaccine will be there, whether it's a month or 2 or 3. And I think when that happens, it's probably going to give the economy a major boost.
Yeah, I think we're really seeing that, again, whether it's therapeutics, which, again, we're seeing that the way that people are getting treated for the virus is far different than it had been earlier. Whether it's vaccines, whether it's more people gaining immunity through, having gotten it once, been exposed to it, etc. Little by little, the world is starting to move ahead. And again, there's safe practices that we're doing. It's very, reassuring now when you start to watch some of the sporting events where you're seeing more and more people in the stands for a football game. And again, we're not seeing any different changes in terms of outbreak or no outbreak. So again, we're learning to live with it. We're learning to move forward with it. We're very hopeful about a lot of the vaccines and therapeutics that are on the way. And I think you're really seeing that with the continued strength in the economic activity. So again, I think that there's so many people that will always point to the negatives. There's so many different ways in which people will always look, towards the downside. But I think that the bigger picture with it just continues to be, where do you see potential? Where do you see opportunity? And how do you continue to drive through that? And again, I think that we have to continue to keep our minds open in terms of, the different fields of technology that are opening up so much opportunity. So that remains to me the biggest single area of understanding where creative entrepreneurs are focusing their efforts, whether it's fintech, whether it's health tech, biotech, etc., finding new ways and new solutions that will continue to move forward. And again, when we look at the vibrancy of the economy, I always like to remind clients and investors, when President Obama took office, there was half the population that thought he was going to be a disastrous president and the economy was going to suffer. And, the economy did well and jobs were good, equity markets were strong, and there was a lot of people who sat on the sidelines because they let their ideological beliefs interfere with economics. And likewise, when President Trump took office, there was a lot of people that thought that he was going to be a destructive force for the economy, that he was going to be the worst president ever. And again, there's a lot of people that sat on the sidelines and watched the equity markets, rally quite strongly, watched the economy continue to grow, etc. And I think that we're likely to see a similar event post this election result, where there's going to be a lot of people disappointed with the result one way or the other. And ultimately what people need to do is put their political opinions aside, check their political ideology, and recognize that this is the most vibrant economy in the history of the world. There is a tremendous amount of innovation, creativity that's happening, and we need to stay focused on what the future holds and make sure that we continue to find those opportunities to find creativity and profitability and new ways to continue to make lives better for everybody in this country and in this world. And I'm completely confident in American capitalism to continue to do so, regardless of which way the political winds will blow.
Well said. Michael Zaremsky, head of U.S. Private Banking, Bank Lumi USA, member investment committee for Lumi Investment Services. Thank you for being here with us.
My pleasure, Zev, and look forward to speaking again. Thank you.
Look forward to that, too. And we're going to be right back.